YouTube, what's good? It's your boy Big Beard B, and we are back for another edition of Big Beard Business. Today we're going to jump into a list created by you, the people. A few weeks ago, I was on Instagram and I asked a question that I thought was pretty legit. What is your favorite party/clubbing fragrance? And the list might surprise you. So without any further ado, I'm going to go through the top fragrances on today's list because I found them to be a bit shocking. So now that you know what we're doing, let's go ahead and get down to Big Beard Business. First up is a fragrance that is said to be a tribute to elegance and kindness, and this one is a niche fragrance for now. It's of Niche, and this one happens to be Hachivat. Now, I was not expecting Hachivat to be on today's list, but I think that Hachivat has been growing in popularity versus Aventus, and this is what people are going for. Now, this fragrance does have a healthy woody base here. You have clear wood, timberwood, and also some oak moss there in the base, but there's also a double dose of wood here in the mid as you have some cedarwood. Now, with that said, some would argue that the top is where you begin to experience this fragrance in all it offers, as this fragrance does open up with pineapple and bergamot, so you do get that fruitiness here as it comes through with a little bit of florals in the mid here, and then in the base again you have that earthy woody feel. A phenomenal fragrance if you're asking me. It's one that I often go back to over and over again. Performance is there, projection is there, and longevity is there as well, and it's also clearly a fan favorite out there according to IG or Instagram. So next we're getting to a fragrance that is very different than the first fragrance that we talked about here today, but this fragrance is no slouch, and I was also surprised that this fragrance made the list because it's not readily available in stores. This fragrance is from the house of Byron Parfums, and I'm showing it to you in the original presentation, and this one happens to be the OG of Mula Mula. Now, Mula Mula is a fragrance that I've come back to over and over and over again, and some would even say that I'm the cause of the hype behind the scent, but not I. The fragrance really deserves everything that it gets when it comes down to what this fragrance has been complimented for. Compliments do roll in with this fragrance. It is also sweet, it projects like a beast, and it also has a strong sillage with this scent. It's sweet and it has a top tier unisex feel to this fragrance. So if you're a guy out there who's not a huge fan of sweet fragrances, then you are not going to like this one. But if you want a fragrance that's going to reach out over other fragrances and touch someone specifically in a clubbing or party environment, then this is one of those fragrances that can do that, and I'm happy that it made today's list, but also quite shocked. Now, this next fragrance that I'm going to talk about today is another one that still kind of feels along the lines of that sweetness there, right? But I was surprised that it made this list, but I think a lot of guys out there are stepping things up. The fragrance comes from MFK, and this one is Baccarat Rouge 540. This fragrance here has been known for being a phenomenal fragrance for both men and women alike, and you can wear this fragrance in a club situation, you can wear this fragrance to a date, you can wear this fragrance to the office. It's pretty much a catch-all scent. Now, ideally for me, this is not a fragrance that I would immediately gravitate to for a clubbing or party situation, but obviously this is not my list. This list belongs to the people, but I can see why people would choose this fragrance for sure. Now, obviously this was a mixture of men and women voting, so I would see that there's differences in where people are going and what they would be doing. Now, if you're going to a nice dinner party, right, somewhere, then this fragrance could work. But if you're in a massive club or a bar situation, maybe this is not the ideal scent, but nonetheless, it's a phenomenal fragrance that gets people going. One of the standout fragrances on today's list, and a fragrance that for sure works. Now, the next two fragrances in the number 2 and number 1 positions are fragrances that I anticipated would be on today's list, but once the votes came in, I was sure they would be on today's list. And the first fragrance comes up from Versace, and this one is Versace Eros. Now, this is the original, the OG, but since then there's been the EDP and the Parfum out as well, but the original is one that people went with, or I was assuming they went with, if they did not add the EDP or parfum behind it. All in all, this is a fragrance that does smell good, and it works, and it lasts, and it pops, and it performs, it projects, etc. But some people said it's lost its luster since the original presentation, which is why we have others to choose from. So no matter which one you are opting to go with, you do have the ability to wear this fragrance in one of those situations. Now, what I will say is that this fragrance is not, in my personal opinion, a fragrance that's great for year round. But if you're going to a party, you're likely indoors, or club, you're likely indoors, and it really doesn't matter at that point. But if you're at an outdoor beach party or rooftop party, then this is a fragrance I would probably shy away from and maybe go with Hot Chivat or something like that. But nonetheless, it's a fragrance that I thought was going to make today's list, and it did, and fragrance that has been known to be working in this type of situation. So that's why I thought it was there. And then finally, we have one that people have called the Clubbing King. A fragrance that is sweet, it projects, it performs, it's long lasting. The fragrance comes from Paco Rabanne, and this one is Paco Rabanne's 1 Million. Now, since Lucky came out, I've been gravitating to wearing Lucky more and more and more. But when I think of fragrances that have helped me along my fragrance journey, this is one of those fragrances that have done so. I have done, I don't know, it's countless videos where I've included this fragrance as well as other 1 Million flankers. And I think that this is a solid fragrance from the house of Paco Rabanne, and in my personal opinion, one of the more popular fragrances from the brand, and stand out for sure. Now, if you're looking for a fragrance that's going to be sweet, project, perform, yeah, this one is it. But it's a far cry from what the original fragrance was like in terms of how massive projection that was. It's very different today, but nonetheless, it's still a phenomenal fragrance that I think many of you out there will enjoy. So that completes my list today, or your list today. I'm just relaying the information to you. Let me know what 5 fragrances you would choose if you had to redo this list. Shout out to those of you who participated on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you do so at Big Beard Business. As always, I'm your boy Big Beard B. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend that we are back again. And you already know what I need you to do. Just hit the goddamn